Testing, testing, testing. Good sweet morning, YouTube. Stop. Let me just get one thing straight here. The audio that I'm using in my videos just absolutely sucks. Like, I'm spending all this time focusing on improving the way my image looks, and I'm ignoring at the same time the way my videos sound. A film is delivered using two mediums, sight and sound. So why ignore the sound part of things? Why not spend just as much time making a video sound good to make it more compelling? Would you believe that people can tolerate bad, shaky video, but they can't tolerate bad audio? It's actually true. And if you think about it, it makes sense. If a video just sounds bad, if you can't hear what anybody's saying, you just immediately lose interest. So my audio has just been sucking. I've been doing a pretty bad job. But lately, over the past few months, I've been putting in a major effort to make my videos sound good. And here's what I found, and I'm excited to share it with you. Now, primarily, I'm going to be telling you how to capture dialogue, but certainly this equipment and techniques can be used to catch small bits of sound that you can place in your video to tell a more complete, wholesome, and compelling story. So here's the situation. I've got everything packed in my backpack, and I'm headed to a client project where I'll be capturing an interview. I get there and I get all my camera stuff set up, and the shot looks great. It's lit well, and we're on the move. But what do I do to set up my audio? Now, before I say anything, before I get started, I want to say that this is a professional's solution to audio. If you're just getting into video, if you're doing content marketing for your company in-house and just getting started, let me tell you about a solution that will definitely suffice. Behold, the simplest and easiest way to improve your sound quality in your video. This is the Zoom H1 handy recorder, and it's one of my favorite pieces of gear that I've had. I've actually had it for probably 6 or 7 years. It's definitely taken some abuse over the years, but the reason I like it so much is it does two things very well. Number one is it has a built-in microphone and an XY pattern, and what you're able to do is just take this, hit record on it, and it records sound through the microphone to an SD card. And then you can just take this puppy and set it anywhere you need to get kind of closer sounding audio. Now, the coolest and most used feature of this puppy is the fact that you can record an input sound into this. So what I've done for the past 6 years as a cheap and easy audio solution is I've taken this recorder and I've plugged in a lavalier microphone. This is a little clip-on microphone, and it looks a lot like the one I'm wearing, and it does the same thing. Basically, you just take that microphone, plug it into the side there, attach it to your subject, and hit record. And it'll record very close, intimate sounding lavalier audio to an SD card. And what you're supposed to do in post-production is line it up. I'll show you how to line it up later. This device will run you like $80, and the microphone will run you about $20. So it's a pretty cost-effective solution. I also know that they sell different kind of knockoffs to this device, and you might even be able to find a device like this for like $30 or $40. Cool, all right. Let's bring out the big guns now. I've got my camera set up, I've got my lights set up, and now it's time to make something happen with the audio. What do? I really feel like I've figured out a really solid way to capture dialogue reliably. Here's what I found works best for me, and I recommend you do the same. In a professional context, it is supremely important that you capture your audio reliably. So that's the first thing I focus on. How can I get good audio and have it just not mess up? When I'm using this cheaper solution, a lot of the times I'll record the audio and then play it back just to realize that it's muffled, it doesn't sound right, maybe there's some scratchiness, maybe there's some unfortunate background noise, and the clip's ruined. So that's why I like to capture things from two different audio sources at the same time. One shotgun microphone placed 12 to 18 inches from the subject's face, and one lavalier or lapel microphone, much like the one I'm wearing now. For the microphone, I'm actually using this Saramonic TX9 transmitter and receiver system to wirelessly send audio to my audio recorder. The benefit of this is convenience, is having all of your audio files in the same place. And the other benefit to this is it gives you the ability to put on the headphones and monitor what you're listening to as it's happening in real time. So if the audio is being messed up, if there's something wrong with it, you're able to tell. You're able to hear it in the headphones immediately in real time and then address the problem. Personally, I believe the shotgun microphone sounds a lot better than the TX9 system that I'm using here. This is kind of an off-brand, generic wireless microphone system, still pretty expensive, but it does have its drawbacks, so I just like to use it as a backup audio source, just in case that shotgun microphone isn't doing the trick for some reason. For this video today, I've been using the Zoom H5 field recorder connected to an SGH6 shotgun microphone. It's just sitting on my desk with this tabletop tripod. Usually all this stuff is mounted atop of my camera, just when I'm running and gunning. But when I'm doing interviews, I like to put it on a little tripod or put it on a stand somewhere and get it just as close to the subject as possible. Now this microphone is highly directional. So that means whatever you're pointing it at is what it's going to be picking up, and whatever you're not pointing it at, it's going to be rejecting. This is the Zoom H1, and this is the Zoom H5. What a tremendous piece of gear here, and I'll explain it to you just briefly. What this does is it captures higher quality audio than my camera is able to capture. Additionally, it's attached to this high quality shotgun microphone, which is also made by Zoom, to just record that beautiful signal directly into this device onto an SD card. And additionally, what I have connected to this setup is my Saramonic RX9 receiver, which outputs and then plugs into the bottom of my recorder here. Now, why is this recorder so cool? Not only is it able to capture supremely good sounding, high quality recordings, but it allows me to record multiple streams of audio at the same time and then separate the tracks in post-production so I can adjust everything independently. That is huge. So if I want to, in post-production, have a combination of the wireless microphone and the shotgun microphone, I can do that. I can just focus on the wireless microphone and I can just focus on the shotgun microphone and edit them all completely individually using the Zoom H5 recorder. So what that is giving us the ability to do is to have a main audio source and a backup audio source, just in case one of the two goes wrong. And things go wrong all the freaking time. It's impossible to control, especially in audio. There's just so much finesse required to get it right. So when you're recording with two different microphones at the same time, you're really being safe. And I think that amount of safety is completely necessary and completely worth the investment, just because having to reshoot something just because of bad audio is common and horrible. I will never let that happen to me. When you're setting up your recorder, it's important to look at the levels here to make sure you're not clipping your audio. So you actually turn these knobs here to adjust the gain, the loudness of your input signal. And if that gets too high, it'll clip. And once it clips, it distorts the audio and it kind of ruins it. So when it clips, it tells you the corresponding track light will blink. The red light will blink after it's clipped, just like that. And that's how you know that's clipped, and you have to turn it down to save the audio. So after you record your audio track and you like it, you got to go in post-production and line it up and then clean it up. And I'm going to show you how to do that right now. Let's swing over to the computer, the Confuser. So today we'll be working with my favorite software, Adobe Premiere Pro, to line up and clean up these clips. Let's get started. All right, cool, tight, sweet, neat. Today we're gonna be editing some clips of a good friend of mine. His name's Ben Jackson, and I've got an interview of him here where we can see how to mess with this audio in post-production. So if you see here, I've got my clips. I've got two video clips. It's actually the same angle, just two different clips. And then I have two different audio clips here, and these are the different channels that I was talking about. So it recorded the lavalier microphone to one channel, and it recorded the higher quality SGH6 shotgun microphone track to a different audio file. So we're able to manipulate those differently. We just have to line them all up, and it's super easy to do. Just take all of your clips here, select them, right click, go to create multi-camera source sequence. And then what you're going to want to do is make sure this is checked here. This is going to line it up using the audio. So it listens to the audio, finds out the similarities between the clips, and then it lines it up for you. It's very cool. We'll just let that go there. It's gonna take just a hot sec. I'll definitely cut this part out. We're just waiting. So after that's done processing, what it's gonna do is create this file here, and this is your multicam sequence, and in there, hopefully, all of your clips are gonna be lined up. In order to open that up, you're gonna hit the Control or Command key on your keyboard, give that a double click, and it's gonna open everything up in the timeline just how you like it. So this is, if you see here, we have both of our audio files synchronized to our 2 video files, and that looks about right. We're gonna give that a little playback just to make sure it sounds good.
It's like in Atlanta, we're growing, and in Kansas City, we're growing, like I said, and we used to onboard drivers by doing personal interviews. But that's just a very laborious process because you have to, okay, what time works for you, driver? Oh,
So we have to do a few things here to make this audio sound super sweet. What we have to do next is decide whether or not we want to be using our shotgun microphone or our lapel microphone or a combination of both. So let's give those a listen to see which one we like better. First things first, we're gonna adjust the gain of the clip. Basically, we're just going to bring up the levels a little bit just so it's a little bit easier to hear for everybody. If you select the clip and hit the G key, the gain window will pop up, and then you want to look down here at the peak amplitude, and that's essentially the highest level of volume that the entire recording reaches. I like to do just a few decibels below that, so if the peak amplitude is 6.4, I'd probably give it like a 5 boost in gain, and then hit enter, and that'll boost your sound up just a little bit. And let's unmute this shotgun microphone track here below, and do the same thing.
I think.
Peak amplitude is 0 decibels, so we're not even going to touch that. If you look at your audio levels here, and you'll also probably notice this, but the audio is coming through just one channel. It's coming through just the right speaker and not the left speaker, and that's just how the audio recorder tends to record it. When we import some of the audio tracks into our timeline, sometimes they only come out of one channel, and that's because the actual audio track is configured to be a mono output. It's actually like super frustrating and confusing and hard to fix, but a quick and easy fix for you here is actually to take your audio clip, you see it's only coming out of the right channel, and just drag it down into a new audio track. Make sure it's unmuted. And when we play it back, you'll notice that again, I don't know how it works, but what the heck, we've got both channels now. You can do the same for the lapel audio if you decide to work with that. Again, the lapel audio is just a backup, but we have it just in case we need it. Cool, now that we've fixed that issue and the gain looks good, we're going to first add an effect called dynamics. So if we go in our effects bar here and search dynamics, we're gonna take that and drag it right on there. In our effect control section, we're going to adjust the parameters of our dynamics. What I like to do here is use a preset, and typically what I'll do is a soft compression.
After no. And it was so frustrating.
What the dynamics effect or the compressor is doing is it's taking the lower sounds and raising them and the higher sounds and lowering them to give you a more consistent audio stream. Pretty cool. What I like to do in addition to this is add a limiter to the effect, and we're going to just select that there and bring the threshold up to about let's just say -1 decibel. And what the limiter does is it essentially stops the audio from reaching a certain level of loudness before it starts to clip or distort, and you don't want that to happen. Cool, that's it for the compressor or the dynamics effect. Let's move on and get rid of that hiss. To get rid of that hiss, we're gonna add a low pass filter to the audio clip. So we're actually gonna go into our settings again and find the parametric equalizer, drag that onto the clip, adjust the effects, and we're gonna hit this drop down here and hit generic low pass. And you can visually see what's happening here. We're gonna be cutting off some of these higher frequencies and just leaving some of these lower frequencies. So if we give that a play back,
where it made me question Bungie's future.
You notice that hiss is gone. We still have a little bit of room tone, and we're gonna fix that next.
And
head on over to your effects again. We're gonna be using the adaptive noise reduction effect, dragging that onto the clip. And what I like to do is, these default parameters aren't terrible. I like to do light noise reduction.
Also at the same time, we tried to play it right, where how long can we wait?
And you'll notice now when my friend Ben stops talking, we just go right to 0, where we don't hear anything. There's no hiss, there's no room tone, and that sounds super cool and professional.
Wait to raise money so we can have the most momentum, the most highest revenue to prove versus how can we go, how long?
Sometimes if I'm feeling crazy, I'll hit that high quality mode button there. There's actually one more effect that we have to add, and then we're done. We're super done. That effect is called mastering, and what this will allow us to do is just give it a little bit crisper and more forward of a sound using this effect. So back into the effect controls here, we're gonna go mastering, drag that on, adjust those parameters, and I like to do the subtle clarity preset here. The only thing that I actually changed about the subtle clarity preset is it has a little bit of reverb on it that we need to get rid of. So if you see here, the reverb, reverb is just a fancy word for echo, and we don't want that. All right, let's give it a play back and see how we did.
Most of Kansas City admires and respects, and people who you want on your team, people who you want on board, they're the type of names you're telling other investors, hey, we got them locked in, can you participate? Pretty much we're at a point where
sounds good, but I still am getting a little bit of room tone, so I'm gonna try and see if I can't fix that. We're gonna go into our adaptive noise reduction again and just give that a little bit more reduced noise by.
We had expired all the investors. I had met with the majority of investors in Kansas City, and the majority of them just said, no, Ben, not going to do it.
Boom shakalaka, I'd say we did it. It sounds pretty good. We have that backup lapel audio that is just hanging out there in case we need it, in case the shotgun audio somehow didn't turn out well. But I think we did a pretty solid job here. Now a little trick you can do here. Now this is pretty important. After you spend all of this time editing these audio effects, you're not going to want to do that just every single time you make a video. So we're going to make a preset that allows us to just take all of these effects and drop them onto a clip in bulk. Let me show you how to do it. In this effects menu, you're going to want to just hold down Control and select each one of your effects. Looks pretty good. Then what you're going to want to do is right-click, save preset, shotgun audio cleanup. So the next time you're editing a video, you can just go into your effects here, and under presets, you'll find, shotgun audio cleanup. And we're just gonna drag that onto our lapel audio here and just see how that sounds.
Again, maybe it's just bad, I'm not sure what to do. And I remember I just sat at the...
Now before we get finished, there's one last step that we have to do. We're gonna go back into our dynamics effect and adjust the makeup until our volume here is... So you notice that his voice is peaking kind of around, I wish this gave me some more information here, but it's not going all the way to the top. We don't want it to clip, but we can get it just a little bit higher than that. So we're gonna adjust this makeup here and give that a little drag.
0. I had spent 2 months doing investment meetings.
And it gets much louder and much more forward, and that's where it's really gonna come out. Now, don't worry, don't crank it, don't make it too loud, but if there's a loud portion of the video, the limiter will take care of that so it doesn't end up clipping. So you're able to boost it quite a bit, but go easy on it, right? Don't boost the hell out of it, because that'll make it sound too compressed, and you're gonna wanna avoid that.
Probably had about 60 investment meetings, between 40 and 60, and the vast majority, 99%, was just no after no after no after no after no. And then...
Also ignore the lighting in this video. It looks terrible. I did a very bad job lighting this shot. Boom shakalaka, you did it. Thank you very much for listening to my video today on how to capture professional sounding dialogue Be sure to like this video and subscribe to my channel for more awesome content like this, and be sure to have a good rest of your day. Thank you very much for watching.